Namaste from Anadi Foundation. We are looking at the Yogasutra of Patanjali, Sutra 6. Pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smritayaha. Pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smritayaha. Pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smritayaha. In the previous sutra, Maharishi Patanjali had mentioned that the vrittis are fivefold, some of which are painful and some of which are not painful. So the natural question was, what are the vrittis? For that he answers, they are pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra and smriti. Pramana is basically a right source of knowledge. Whatever we acquire through the senses, we store that particular knowledge, we process it, and then we make sense of reality through that. Whenever we have a right understanding of things, it's called pramana, because we form the right mental model of whatever we grasp through the senses. It means it is a valid knowledge. However, sometimes it so happens that we might look at something, we might grasp things through our senses, but do not decode it properly. We might have a misconception about something, or we might understand it the opposite way. That is called viparyaya. Viparyaya, there is one more meaning which is called reverse, or mistaking anything to be the opposite of what actually it is. So basically it is wrong knowledge or false knowledge that we have about something. It very easily happens, isn't it? We have misconception about so many things. When we look at the reality around us, we mistake something A to be B and B to be A, because we do not have prior knowledge about it, or we have certain filters which prevent us from acquiring the right knowledge about reality. So that is called viparyaya. The other thing that he talks about vritti is vikalpa. What does it mean? We might be imagining certain things. We might be fantasizing about certain things. We might be having some fancies or delusions about some things. We might even be hallucinating about something. So that is called vikalpa, where the object actually does not exist. And very interestingly, Maharishi Patanjali calls sleep and memory also as vrittis. Because in sleep, we might not experience reality the way it is, but still so many mental processes are going on. We could dream. So some mind stuff is still going on during sleep, though we do not intake from the senses at that time. And memory, of course, is a process of receiving information, storing it, and then recollecting it for future use. And hence, that is also something that is going on in our mind, or these create certain ripples or modifications in the consciousness, and hence they are classified as vrittis. Of course, in the later sutras, Maharishi Patanjali in detail explains each one of these vrittis. But for now, let us have this understanding. In fact, if you look at modern psychology and neuroscience, a lot of these neuroscientists and psychologists are trying to make sense of consciousness. In the Western sense, in Western psychology, consciousness means just becoming aware of the outer reality, being aware of things around us. That is consciousness. They do not talk about the fundamental substratum of all things or all of material reality. That is not spoken of as consciousness. But however, there are different states of consciousness that modern psychology defines. And some of these are normal states of consciousness and some of these are altered state of consciousness. The normal states are like, waking state, and even sleep is a state of consciousness. An altered state includes like hallucinations, even meditation, where we focus on some specific thing, according to Western psychology, where there is some kind of a focus and concentration happening. That is also called an altered state of consciousness. So it's difficult to draw a direct parallel between between what is there in modern psychology, neuroscience, and what is mentioned in the sutras. But nevertheless, whatever is missing in the understanding of each of these domains can be filled by the other. Because we operate in the modern world, we are introduced to modern literature. I think the insights that come from modern sciences help us to decode the sutras in a certain way. At the same time, whatever there is a gap in the understanding in Western psychology and neuroscience can be filled from what Patanjali Maharishi says.